Hello and good afternoon, Hawaii. How is everyone? We're going to wait a minute or so for more people to join before we start. And just wondering, did everyone get to use their Uber Eats today? Let me know in the Q&A box what you ordered. Our office today, we had some leftover Mediterranean. I'm seeing, okay, someone got some chicken, barbecue, burgers. Nice. And if you didn't get to use the code, it should be still good to use until the end of Friday, I believe. And also, just before we start, just wanted to go over some housekeeping items. At the end of this presentation, I'll be following up with an email by tomorrow morning to provide the HRCI and shroom credits. And if you have any questions today, I'll do my best to check the Q&A box and get back to you as soon as I can, as these questions will be saved. If you do want any further information, feel free to respond to the email I'll be sending with the credits. And we're also going to send a recording of the presentation you can share with colleagues. Today, we're going to talk about Hawaii nonprofits and unemployment. And before I get started, just wanted to do a quick intro of myself. My name is Janessa Ponko. I'm the membership development representative here at 501c Services. I've been in sales since 2016, selling vendor booth space at a wedding fair for 3 years. I've set up meetings for tech startups during the pandemic, and I've been scheduling appointments with nonprofits here at 501 since July 2023. And the image of people bowling is of me and some of my sales and marketing team members. Heidi is my manager in the middle. You may work with her in the future. And Evan is on the right, who works on our marketing and web development. I'm really excited to be part of a company that's been helping nonprofits save time and money that can go towards furthering their mission. We're located in San Jose, California, so we're in the heart of the Silicon Valley, and we're dedicated to helping nonprofits reduce unemployment expenses across the nation. And thanks again for joining to learn more about cost-effective strategies and managing unemployment in your state. So we're going to provide a broad overview on how unemployment insurance works, alternatives for 501c3 nonprofits when it comes to unemployment, how reimbursing works. We're also going to use some real life examples of nonprofits we've helped with our cost analysis, and finally provide more information on 501c services and how many of our Hawaii nonprofits, we have over 50 that have benefited from our services. First of all, I wanted to start out with a little history to put unemployment in perspective. Unemployment started in the US in the 1930s following the Great Depression and New Deal, where the federal government wanted to create a safety net for workers who lost their jobs through no fault of their own. From 1930 to 1972, 501c organizations didn't pay into unemployment and benefits for separate employees. Although this saved nonprofits money from paying these taxes, employees that were laid off couldn't reap the benefits of having that safety net that for-profit companies provided. Fast forward to 1972, the federal government changed the law under the Social Security Act to where nonprofits must pay into unemployment benefits, but they were provided different options in how they pay so that tax wouldn't be seen as an unnecessary expense for them. And unemployment is overseen on the federal level. However, each state gets to manage their own programs however they choose. So throughout the US, you can see different taxable wage bases, tax rates, benefit amounts. But today we're just going to cover information here in Hawaii. When it comes to management, unemployment rates can be adjusted annually and are adjusted by experience. So for instance, if you have a year or two of bad claims, your tax rate will increase. Most states, including Hawaii, run as a risk pool. So what you put in does not necessarily equate to what you get out. We're seeing that a lot of nonprofits are putting more money into that pool than what they're actually getting out of it. And these total tax liabilities by employers are often greater than the claims paid with reserves used in times of recession. And then the total tax liability is calculated by multiplying the taxable wage base and your employer rate, your employer tax rate. So take a guess on what a single claim can cost in Hawaii. And I'm going to look at some guesses. So I got 11,000. We have 9,000, 8,700. And just as like a hint, the total cost is looking at the weekly benefit maximum times the maximum number of weeks someone can claim. And as a little hint, the maximum number of weeks is 26 weeks. So I have 17,000, 5,500, 2,300. So the maximum amount a single person can claim in unemployment in Hawaii can cost $21,710. And just as a caveat, this is what an employer is charged for employee benefits by the state. And then those extended benefits you saw in the recession and extra COVID payments, they were covered by the federal government. The maximum weekly benefit in Hawaii is $835. And when we multiply that number by 26 is how we get the $21,710 for the maximum of what a single person can claim on unemployment. The federal government sets the wage base at a minimum of $7,000. There's no maximum. Hawaii's taxable wage is set at $62,000 in 2025, which means the first $62,000 an employee earns, your organization is taxed on that. And then the minimum tax rate is 0%. The maximum tax rate is at 5.6%, and those are both set by the state. And there's also a 0.01% employment and training assessment rate that's added to all tax rates unless you have that maximum rate at 5.6%. The last thing I want to know is the improper payment rate, which is at 6.66%. And this overpayment equates to over $38 million in overpayments to former employees who are collecting unemployment from the past 3 years. This is information we get from the Department of Labor, and you can see Hawaii is one of the many states that's less than 10%. And this is really important to know, as we really encourage you to look over your claims and make sure that you're not overpaying for anybody's claims. Here at 501, we help organizations monitor this. And if you are managing on your own, you want to make sure that you're properly charged for a former employee's weekly benefit amount. There are three different alternatives for unemployment. One is that you pay the state tax that we mentioned earlier with the tax rate that is set by the state and taxable wages. Another option is that you can self-insure, reimburse for your unemployment, where you just pay dollar per dollar for your unemployment claims. So you're basically only paying for the benefits issued. And then the last option is kind of a hybrid of both, where you buy insurance that offers the savings of reimbursing while also providing that safety net. So just to let you know, reimbursing is not for everyone. The qualifications we look at for considering reimbursing is that an organization must be a 501c3 nonprofit. It excludes religious institutions. We recommend a gross annual payroll of $1 million or more, because typically if your payroll is under $1 million, especially significantly less, what you're paying into the state tax pool is probably pretty minimal, and you might not see much significant savings by opting out. However, there may be some scenarios where you could see potential savings. So we would be happy to look at your numbers, even if you're just slightly less than $1 million. And then we also look at a positive audit of the past 3 years. So that means in order for reimbursing to benefit you, we try to evaluate what you paid in taxes exceeds what you pay in actual claims. And then we want to make sure that there isn't any like major disruption in funding for the next 24 months. So we do recommend to stay with SEY if you know you might have anything from layoffs, reduction in workforce, losing funds, or closing programs where your tax rates may go up with experience. And then you'll probably want to wait once those claims decrease. What it means to reimburse is that your tax rate turns to 0%, and the state will bill you only for the unemployment claims you receive over the quarter. It's a great way for nonprofits to save money and be a better steward of donor dollars. The process is seamless for separated employees. No matter how your employees separated, they'll still go through the same process for EDD, where the state determines their benefit amount based on their base period pay. And then the only change is how the quarterly bill is calculated. Instead of the state unemployment insurance tax, you're now only responsible for the charges your organization incurs. We work with 1,500 nonprofits. Over 50 are in Hawaii, so you're probably wondering what motivates them to reimburse. In most cases, reimbursing saves money. On average, savings can be anywhere from 20 to 40% compared to paying for SUI. And this is really the driver for most organizations to switch. Reimbursing eliminates any concern of changes in the state tax, such as those tax hikes you can't control, and you become a better steward of donor dollars as you just pay for your actual claims than into that state pool. Because unemployment is managed by the federal government, big picture, reimbursing is allowed in all 50 states, best with employers with over $1 million in payroll and at least 15 or more full-time employees. If you are on the borderline, we can certainly talk, as sometimes there may be circumstances where we can consider reimbursing for your organization. And if you are smaller and reimbursing already, we can still consider you for our services and how we can help you reduce your risk. So I do want to talk about how SUI is calculated. And like I mentioned earlier, I'll show some real cost assessments we've done in the past. The taxable wage base is customized by each state. So in Hawaii, that taxable wage base is at $62,000. All employers in the state pay the same taxable wage base. It represents the first $62,000 of an employee's earnings. There's no maximum and can increase or decrease by any amount each year. The tax rate is set annually by the state and is based on experience. So to calculate the contribution amount, you multiply the taxable wage base by the tax rate. So for Hawaii, it's $62,000 times the range of 0 to 5.6%. This amount means that if each employee makes over $62,000, a company is paying in between 0 to $3,472 per employee in unemployment. So for this first example of a human services nonprofit we worked with, the taxable payroll was just shy of $1 million, tax rate at 4.7%, estimated claims only about $200 per year. In this case, we looked at a 3-year average of claims. So they were paying over $45,000 a year. Think of what you can do with an additional $45,000. And in this next example, the taxable payroll is around $700,000, tax rate 3.38%, estimated annual claims is around $5,900, estimated unemployment taxes were around $24,000, so they overpaid around $18,000. What we do to get the ball rolling on an assessment is we look at the EDD tax rate notice that is available. It's only online for the state of Hawaii as of March 14th. This document gives us most of the information we need to do an analysis. That includes the contribution rate that's located on the highlighted top left portion, and the employment and training tax we mentioned earlier, it's also on the right. The tax rate notice also provides your last 3 years in taxable payroll and benefits you were charged in the previous year. In this example, the organization's reserve or total overpayment was around $411,000. Contributions were over $126,000 and benefits charged were at $0. So this organization paid $126,000 more in taxes than what they were actually paying in claims, which was at $0. With the overpayment of $126,000, their reserve balance increased to over $500,000 by the end of the year. This is an extreme example, though. It has a larger amount of savings that we wouldn't typically see, but it was a real tax notice that we just did, and you'd never know like how much you may save if you ever transition to reimbursing. Also, there isn't a need to understand everything on this notice. Our team would be happy to look over those numbers with you and see what potential savings your organization may have. So a little bit more about our company. We were founded in 1982 by a former UCP executive, John Hugstad. He was looking for ways to save money for his organization, so he came up with the idea of starting a trust. He created the first kind of grantor trust, the Joint Unemployment Compensation Trust, that eventually became 501c Services, 501c Agencies Trust. We started at about 25 members here in San Jose and have now grown to helping over 3,000 nonprofits in various ways. In 2016, John sold the company back to his employees, so we're now 100% employee owned. From our receptionist to the CEO, every member is committed to our company and serving our members. And our services are valued tremendously by our members, with our company having over a 98% retention rate. And here are a couple of testimonials our members have shared. You can go back to these later, as I'll send the slides after the presentation. And this is a clip from our 40th anniversary celebration a few years ago that includes testimonials from Anika Lund and Mike Hoffman from Start Early, Mary Sue and Michael Eady from CISC, Sandy Leota and Chris Marshall of Baltimore Center Stage, and Phyllis Austin and Jason Penniger from Boys and Girls Clubs of America.
What makes me passionate about working for a non-for-profit organization is because I knew I always wanted to work for a mission-driven organization.
Our mission is to work with immigrant communities so that they can achieve the American dream.
501 helps focus our service to the community by giving us more time.
501 helps us focus on serving our communities by providing services directly to our HR professionals.
The biggest benefit for working with 501 is really the transparency and ability to forecast our costs when it comes to our unemployment benefits.
They also keep our cash flow steady through claims that are sound and take a lot of the admin burden off of us so we can just stay on autopilot.
We're very grateful for all the support you provided over the last 4 decades, and we wish you continued success in the future.
Congratulations, 501, on your 40th anniversary. It's been a pleasure serving with you for the last 24 years.
And like I said earlier, we work with over 50 Hawaii nonprofits. And here's a quick snapshot of a few nonprofits here in the state that are members. Like you heard them say in the video you just watched, our members appreciate how we save them time and relieve some administrative burdens. The first way we help nonprofits is through claims management. Our team will help you audit and protest claims. We offer unlimited access to hearing reps, and our team has an 80% protest win rate in Hawaii. You will have a dedicated claims manager once you become a member of the trust. And all your claims will go through this online portal where you'll be notified when a claim has been filed. Then you'll go into the portal to respond to these questions. And if in any case you go on PTO and forget to delegate these unemployment tasks, it shouldn't be a problem for when a claim isn't responded to in several days. It gets escalated and handled. A big part of our claims management is that our team doesn't want to see your organization overpay or get hit by those Hawaii error rates. So we can edit those charges or audit those charges for you or prevent you from paying for a claim when someone gets terminated. And we also want to make sure that you're managing these claims and have enough support to do so. Our HR services include 3 components. We offer access to unlimited HR consultations. We're a small, dedicated team that can answer any of your HR-related questions. So if you ever have an ongoing issue, you can develop rapport with a person who will support you and manage any of your HR questions. Our HR services also have trainings throughout the year that are HRCI and SHROOM certified. And then there's also an online knowledge library with our HR services. With the $835 maximum weekly benefits here in Hawaii, our goal is to help you keep that cost as low as possible. If you're ever laying someone off, our reemployment tool offers packages such as online coaching, interview techniques, and resume writing. It's never fun to let someone go, but at least you can give them the safety net and resources to help them secure a new job faster. And in return can also help your organization save more money. The protection part is the insurance part of our program. Most of our members take our stop loss protection, which helps our members during catastrophic claims. And other than catastrophic claims, we have our trust savings account. This is a reserve account owned by your organization where you would save for those possible unexpected number of claims. So I hope this sparked your interest in maybe some of you may want to manage your unemployment through us as a reimbursing employer. If you wanted to look into potential savings, what I would need from you is your 941s or estimated payroll from 2023 to 2024 as a reimburser. And if you are paying SUI, I would need a copy of your 2025 tax rate notice. It would be also helpful if you had your 2023 and 2024 tax rate notices, so we can look at additional data points for you. But no worries, we can also just work with the 2025 tax rate notice. So I don't have any questions so far, and I'll stay on for another minute or so if anyone wanted to add a question to the Q&A box. Otherwise, I will sign off and start sending follow-up emails. It'll include the copy of the slides and credits. By tomorrow morning, I should be able to get all that information already and sent. And if you are still typing as I log off, please feel free to respond to the upcoming email tomorrow morning. And thank you again for watching this presentation and looking forward to speaking with some of you soon. And if you had an immediate question or needed to contact me right away, this is my contact information. And thank you so much again for joining, and hope everyone has a great day.